Hey friends, I was just recording, and in my recording, if you listen closely, you can hear birds bickering. So let me explain the drama. So right here, right behind me, we have the Montagues, and right there we have the Capulets. And I mean, if you've read Romeo and Juliet or saw the movie or saw any adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, you do know how the story goes. We are just waiting for two baby sparrows to come and unite the two clans and unite the two groups together, and so we can all live peacefully. Let's just hope it doesn't end as grim as Romeo and Juliet did.
Someone escapes, someone lies, and there is a lot to unpack this episode. Hey everyone, I'm Nikanak, and I make videos about everything I question and overthink, and today we're breaking down Twin Peaks Episode 5 of Season 2, aka The Orchids Curse. So without further ado, let's get into it. Waking up with abdominal pain, Coop does yoga and finds Audrey's hidden letter. Now the letter says, "I've gone north, Jack may have the answer." Realizing the giant was right, Coop decides to keep this discovery about her trip to One-Eyed Jack's to himself. Now, over at the sheriff's department, Hawk returned from Pearl Lakes, where he learned from new neighbors, two retired female school teachers, that they have no memory of a gray-haired man. Now, I find this interesting because I have a feeling that this was specifically left vague, because who exactly is Hawk referring to as the gray-haired man? Is it Leland? Is it Philip Gerard, who is also gray-haired? Or Bob, because Hawk could have totally just said that they have no knowledge of Bob, because he and Harry understand who he is referencing. So it's interesting that this was left unclear. Maybe it does mean Bob, and I'm overthinking it, but then again, this is the channel where we overthink things, so naturally, I had a thought about that. Now, we also learned that Lucy's supposed trip to visit her sister's new baby was actually a journey to an abortion clinic. And this is extremely devastating because I thought she was going to keep the child, but then again, Lucy could do whatever she wants, and it does make me wonder if she was pushed or maybe coerced, or maybe Richard/Dick gave her the idea, or was she just overwhelmed and unable to handle the situation herself? I hope we do find out, because I was convinced Lucy was going to keep this child. Then Coop comes in and tells Harry they have a lead on Audrey. Now, a quick update on our two goofy goobers. They're still goofy goobers. Now, a man named Mr. Pinkle, probably a medical equipment salesman, comes to the Johnson house to show off the medical equipment Leo will receive once he's home. Now, you can see on Shelley's face that she's not fully on board with any of this. She steps aside from this conversation and tells Bobby she has to go meet Leo's lawyer because his hearing is today. She also asks Bobby if they're okay, which tells me she might have agreed to all of this partly out of fear of losing him. Which, to be blunt, is just stupid, and it's also very frustrating to watch because Shelley has every valid reason, as I previously mentioned, in the world to not want Leo anywhere near her home or herself. And I feel like Bobby is just ignoring all of that and pushing her toward this decision she wouldn't make on her own. So it sucks, but then again, Shelley is a grown adult. I think she's older than Bobby. She can make her own decisions, but I guess not. The community center apparently wasn't available, so the hearing for Leland and Leo is being held at a bar. Leland pleads not guilty and requests bail, but the prosecution argues it should be denied for 3 reasons. 1, the seriousness of the crime. 2, the premeditated nature of the act. And 3, the widely witnessed instability Leland displayed following Laura's death. I agree with the prosecution. It would be weird if I didn't. I've said it before. I think I've said it before. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I did. But vigilantism or not, murder is still murder. Harry then speaks on Leland's behalf, saying he is well known, liked, and respected in the community, and that his grandfather Joshua Palmer brought the family to Twin Peaks 75 years ago. I don't know if this is important, the date 75 years ago. Could it be alluding to the fact that all of this started 75 years ago? Maybe it was just Harry saying that the Palmers were longtime residents of Twin Peaks. Who knows, but I took a note of that. The judge then proceeds to release Leland on his own recognizance. Now, do I think that was the right call? No, I don't, and I don't want to be overly preachy here, but part of my hesitation is that the judge clearly knows Leland, and I think that familiarity has a very big part to play in his decision. Now, a good judge, in my opinion, should be impartial. You have facts, and you act on the facts, not your personal connection to the people involved. And we see the same reaction towards Leo, because when his lawyer argues that Leo suffered brain damage and putting him on trial would be a mockery of the justice system, and when the prosecution pushes back, saying a trial is necessary to bring justice to Laura Palmer, the judge hesitates and asks for a break. He pulls Coop and Harry aside and asks Coop directly, is Leo their guy? Coop says no, and then he asks Harry what the town wants, a trial or a lynching. Harry says they want justice and they want it served on the right person. After deliberating with Coop and Harry, the judge declares Leo not competent to stand trial and orders that when medically possible, he be sent back home. And while I agree with the judge that it should be a fair trial, and we do know that Leo was technically not involved in Laura's death, I mean, he was one of the last people she saw, but he wasn't the one who committed the act, I still think Leo has a lot to pay for, but that's just me, I guess. Over at Harold's house, Donna proposes trading her life stories for access to Laura's diary. Harold agrees, but only under the conditions that he's the one who reads it, and the diary never leaves this house. Donna agrees, they shake on it, it's a deal. The session begins, and as they discuss the nature of dreams versus reality, which is a very recurring theme in Twin Peaks, Donna grabs the diary and runs outside, causing Harold to have a full-blown panic attack and collapse, leaving Donna wishing she hadn't done that. Over at Big Ed's house, Nadine is home, still convinced she is 17 or 18 years old. She doesn't recognize James. She's wearing a school uniform. She's also exhibiting what I can only describe as superhuman strength, because when she goes to the fridge to get juice or milk or whatever it was, she rips the refrigerator door clean off. I don't know how you can overdose, go into a coma, and then wake up thinking you're 17, 18 years old. Let me know in the comments why Nadine is acting the way that she is, and if you do know, please don't spoil it for me, but you know what? Hint. I like hints. Hints are fun. Let's do hints. Let's not spoil. Over at the Great Northern, Mr. Tajimura, who from now on I will be referring to as Catherine, comes to see Ben representing what she says is an Asian investment bank with a superior offer for the Ghostwood project. And Ben is extremely intrigued when handed a check for $5 million. I can only assume that Catherine's plan is to make Ben go down for fraud. And honestly, I hope Hank, Jerry, and Josie go down with him. Now, a little bit later, Coop arrives at Ben's office for the call with Jean, who sets the meeting at a failed amusement park. When Coop leaves with the money, Hank, who was previously hiding behind a secret door, comes out and Ben tells him to tail Coop, keep the exchange smooth, get Audrey back, and if he can, snag the money too. Oh, Benjamin and his priorities. Now, in the previous episode, Donna asked Maddie to help her steal Laura's diary from Harold's house. That plan is still very much on. Donna explains Harold's layout to Maddie and tells her exactly where the diary is hidden. Maddie says she's scared and then asks if Donna actually likes Harold, to which Donna replies yes, she does. So then why are you breaking his trust, Donna? I get curiosity. I really do. But that's where the conversation ends because duty calls. And getting the diary is about getting justice for Laura. Now, just before the operation is about to begin to save Audrey, Hawk comes into the sheriff's department to update Coop and Harry, and says Michael Gerard is staying at the Robin's Nest Motel on Highway 9, and nobody has seen him for a day or so. He also found Gerard's medications, which apparently have a strange, deep smell. And before leaving, Hawk understands that something is happening here that he doesn't know about. James is having dinner at the Double R when Maddie walks in. He tries to talk to her, but she brushes him off and leaves quickly, saying she hasn't seen Donna. And James doesn't buy it for a second, so he decides to follow her. Now, back at Harold's house, Maddie is on stakeout outside while Donna is inside with Harold continuing their session. I'm really surprised he let her back into his house after the events that transpired earlier. Either way, the session continues, and then Harold shows Donna his orchids. They kiss, Harold excuses himself, and Donna uses the moment to give Maddie the signal to come inside. Maddie sneaks in, and Donna is directing her toward the diary while Harold is still away. Then he comes back with an orchid for Donna and sees Maddie. He corners them both and yells,
"Are you looking for secrets? Is that what all this is about? Well, maybe I can help you. Do you know what the ultimate secret is? You want to know? Laura did. The secret of knowing who killed you."
And And as he's saying that, in his hand is a small rake that he later takes to his face and scratches it. I do think the scratch was a bit unnecessary, but what caught my attention is the ultimate secret. And I believe when Laura came to drop off her diary to Harold, she might have told him, or Harold, maybe through reading this diary over and over, understood who did it. Now, before entering One-Eye Jack's, Coop sees an owl. Bob is keeping tabs on Coop. Both of them then sneak inside. Harry finds Blackie's office and starts listening in. Blackie asks Jean what he likes about Nancy more than her, and Jean says she's something new. And I think Blackie might have had genuine feelings for Jean, which makes what happens next even more brutal. Now, Coop, on the other hand, is moving through the halls when he runs into Nancy. He puts her in a lock and tells her to take him to Audrey. When they get to the room, Nancy says it wasn't her idea, which is a very different tune from what she was saying to Jean and Blackie a little bit earlier. So what is Nancy's actual agenda if that's the case? Is she afraid, or is she trying to play both sides? As Coop is about to rescue Audrey, he sees Nancy reach for a knife. He punches her in the stomach, grabs Audrey, and runs out. Back in Blackie's office, Harry is watching through the glass doors as Jean and Blackie kiss. And then, something I truly never expected, Jean kills Blackie. And as he's laying her body on the ground, he spots Harry and shoots at him before disappearing. Then Coop and Harry reunite and are about to make their escape, but are stopped by a guard at the door. And then, drumroll please, a knife lands in the guard's back. And it's Hawk, the hero. I love Hawk, honestly. I need more scenes with Hawk. And he says, "Good thing you guys can't keep a secret." And they run out. Hank has been watching this whole ordeal play out and calls to report back to Ben. Then Jean comes right behind him and holds him at gunpoint. He goes through Hank's identification and finds Daryl Lodwick's badge. So the fate of Hank is pretty murky. Will he escape? Will he make a deal with Hank? Being the slippery worm that he is. But yeah, that's episode 5. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!